Week 8. Keir Starmer is a wanker!
Good evening, everyone. You caught me halfway through a gulp of a coffee there. Did anyone hear part of that video whilst it was playing?
Yeah.
You heard it?
Yeah, Keir Starmer's a...
Should we? Okay, so we might as well open the show on a bang, mightn't we?
Let it rip. Let it rip.
This is what's going on, guys, tonight down in Clacton.
Is that Amit? Is that Amit there in the middle?
No, I don't know. Let me just me screen. We're having all sorts of technical difficulties tonight. Welcome, Noel Wilcox. Long time since you've been on, mate. Good to see you.
Really good to see you, Paul. How are you, Rich?
Yeah, listen, well, I mean, all the better for seeing you, Noel.
And we also have Sir Shoaib as well tonight. Good evening, mate.
Hey, Shoaib.
Hello, hey. How are you?
Yeah, mate, you were looking good in the kilt at the weekend there, man.
Thank you very much. I think I pissed off a few Scottish people. They didn't like it.
I thought you were going to say something else there, Shoaib. I was just going to say, this is a family show. Be careful.
Yeah, no.
Good evening, one and all. So this is what's going on down in Clacton tonight, courtesy of John. Let's have a little look, shall we?
Week 8. Keir Starmer is a wanker! Keir Starmer is a wanker! Nigel Farage, where are you? Nigel Farage, where are you?
Yeah, there's two very dodgy looking characters in that front row there.
People of Clacton have had enough. We want Starmer out! The people of Clacton have had enough. Where are you, Nigel? Where are you, Nigel? Nigel Farage, the Phantom. The Phantom. Where are you, Nigel?
I've just realised I've got no one here. I didn't know what was going to be said. I actually haven't played. Oh, God, blimey. Oh, dear. Talk about...
No, that used to be the leader of Reform County Council, blah, blah, blah. It was like, do you know when your man Adam Brooks went on, Paul, on the stage on Saturday?
Yeah.
I said to Danny Lockwood, I says, Danny, here, there's that guy that used to work for GB News. And he said, What do you mean used to? I says, well, he just finished about 30 seconds ago.
Exactly. Look, there's news coming in that Tommy has been held in Bogota.
Yeah. Do you want an update?
Yeah, go on. What have you got for us,
right.
Rich?
Well, he went to Bogota, right, to go and chill out and get his head showered, right? And he got deported from Bogota. So he flew to Panama, and now he's waiting to get deported from Panama. I tell you what, do you know what? We could actually learn something from these countries because they know exactly how to deport people they don't want in the country. There's no messing about, no human rights lawyers, no go and sit in a hotel. I think maybe Tommy was thinking he was going to get a 5-star hotel in Bogota. I think he thought it was like coming to the UK. Do you know what I mean?
Look, we got some good news tonight. One's gone home. One,
yeah. Mate, outstanding.
Well, it's two.
Oh, is it two?
Yeah, it's two. I think so. We had
1 3.
Yeah, so we had 800 in today, and 2 have gone back.
Wow.
So how's that one out, one in, or whatever it is, 1 in, 1 out? How's that working out? It's not working out great.
Do you know what I think? I think that that Diane Abacus and Rachel from Accounts are actually working on this policy tirelessly in the background because it's their sort of maths. That sort of maths is what Diane Abacus and Rachel from Accounts can do.
They are. I mean, well, look, my maths was always terrible, but I'll make that 798 in. Sorry, 798 in, 2 out.
And 2 out.
But remember, Paul, this is the important thing. Mears and Serco and all the grifting human rights lawyers, they're making an absolute fortune out of it. And are you telling me, not that I'm casting any aspersions, are you telling me nobody in government has got an interest in that? We all know what's
Yeah.
going on. We all know what's going on.
Exactly.
Corruption at highest levels. Get them all in prison. I'm not on about the migrants. I'm on about the lawyers and the corrupt lawyers and the corrupt politicians.
There is a lot to play out over the next few years, believe me. Guys, tonight, first up, a big welcome to Shoaib back on the show for a while. I mean, we stay in touch fairly regularly, but first of all, mate, I mean, we've got some pretty juicy stuff to get into tonight, and that's one of the reasons that our very dear friend Noel is on the channel, proving that you don't always have to completely agree politically to remain friends. Noel, of course, is a member of Reform, and your position is, Noel, right now, remind us again.
Branch chair for Hemel Hempstead.
Branch chair for Hemel Hempstead, yeah.
Yeah, for Hemel Hempstead. So former parliamentary candidate as well. So yeah. So basically what that means is that we have a series of branches that has been set up in the constituencies where you were a parliamentary candidate, where you stood in the general election. And then ultimately what happens, what the branch chair's responsibility is, it's all democratic. You're elected into that position. You have like a treasurer, a deputy chair, and a branch secretary. So everybody's elected into those positions. So it is fully democratic, and you're responsible as the branch chair for the organisation of getting county councillors elected, etc. So I don't think that we've spoken since May, when we had the county council elections poll. So luckily for us, well, not luckily, it was a lot of hard work that went into it. We got 2 county councillors elected. We came second in the other 4 wards that were up for election, and then we came third in the 7th one. So if you actually look at how we're doing and how we're polling, that would be a Reform member of Parliament that would be elected, because, like I say, coming second was really good, and Labour didn't even come in the top 3. So that's how they're polling here in Hemel Hempstead.
Yeah. Well, I would hope that's how they're polling right across the country. No, I want to get into something very juicy with you a little bit later on, but before we get into that, Shoaib, how did you get on last week amongst all those far right white supremacist extremists? Was you managed to get out alive?
Yeah, I'm sitting here, so yeah, I did, but I'm not gonna lie. I think it was one of the most beautiful things that I've seen since I've been in the UK, and I've been here since 10 years. So I think, like I said, I was right at the front, but then I went right at the back, just to, get a feel of it, because some people were saying there were 100,000, and you see the mainstream media lying about it, saying it's only like 500,000 people there. It was a lot of lies. So I actually wanted to go back and forth. So it actually took me 2 hours to go from the front right to the back, just by walking. And because I think a lot of people knew me, and I was the only one wearing a Welsh kilt, and they just let me through. So I was walking through them, and they kept asking me if I was military. I said, no, this is just a kilt. I did not fight for this country. Not yet, I haven't, but that's what I was telling them. But like when I went to the back, as I was going to the back, numerous people stopped me. They spoke to me. They took pictures with me. There were a lot of people with special needs, the people would say, but they were still there with the kids. They were taking pictures of me. Until today, I'm still receiving a lot of pictures from people, we've taken a picture with you. Can we upload it? Can we tag you? It was beautiful. It was so much love that I've seen. I don't think, that you can, you can say what mainstream media is saying when they say, these were the far right racist thug. And I did an interview with a black gentleman who was, again, he was just there observing. He was not right, he was not on the left, he was just observing everybody, and he's seen me. And he said to me, can you come here, because I want to speak to you, because you don't look like you're white. I said, yeah, no, I don't. I am not white. And I said to him, I'm actually an immigrant. I'm not even British. I'm just an immigrant who've been in the country for 10 years. And he was asking me things, and I was telling him, and he did say to me, what do you think about these people? And while we were doing our interview, there were some white people that, like I said, I didn't even know. They just heard what I was saying. They came up to me. They were shaking my hands as we were doing our interview. And it was, like I said, it was just beautiful. I don't think I have been part of something so good in a very, very long time. So I'm just pleased to be there.
Well, that's that's fantastic, and as you well know, we're proud to have you, mate.
Oh, thank you.
You know, you do a great job for the movement and for the country. I mean, you say you haven't fought for the country yet, but if I wouldn't hold your breath, because the way the Russians and Keir Starmer's going, you might have to put your boots on before long.
Yeah,
Richard, how are you, mate?
Mate, I've got the flu, or some sort of thing hit me, and so I went down and did the demo that we always do on a Friday night. I'm doing this, and I've got another demo to do tomorrow. Then I'm going to go to bed tomorrow afternoon and hopefully sleep until Monday. But yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, I'm still absolutely on a high from Saturday. Was talking to Danny earlier on today about this. These counter-terror police, and the more I think about it, Paul, right, it's stopping you coming home, right? It's stopping Danny going home. I'm nervous about flying from. In fact, actually, I'm not. I don't give two damns, to be honest with you. But they'll probably pull me next time I fly. I think it's an abusive process. I think what they're doing is probably illegal, and I think there needs to be legal action taken. So I'm going to start talking to people, see what we can do, because it's completely unacceptable. What happened to Danny? What happened to you? Even though you weren't pulled by the terror police, but that's the next stop for you, wasn't it? It was that, you know,
of course,
and obviously there we go with Tommy again. If Tommy didn't have all this nonsense hanging around him, they wouldn't be able to stop him when he goes to a foreign country. He's not done anything that should stop him getting into any foreign country.
No,
you know, ever.
Absolutely.
Neither have I. Neither have you. Neither has Danny. Neither's Callum Webster. You know, all the other people that's been pulled that I've heard about. It's a complete abuse of power, and it's very similar to what Noel's going to talk about later on. It shows we're living in a banana republic, and we've actually got the Stasi running the thing. And the spidey little skinny snake of a counter-terrorism officer, he looked like a lefty. He looked like a lefty. He just looked like looked like he just crawled out of Antifa. You know what I mean? Yeah. And, you know, I've zero time for these people, absolutely zero time for them whatsoever. They're meant to be protecting us.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's stats out.
But here's another point about it, Paul. This is a really important thing, right? See this counter-terrorism stuff, pulling innocent people and dragging them in and interrogating them. Okay, well, you see, next time there's an Islamist attack, right? And they go, oh, we didn't have the resources to watch them 24/7. Well, stop watching Innocent Patriots then, and you're not have the problem. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, that's me off my chest.
Yeah, no. Well, look, you know what? I'll tell you what. On that note, guys, let's have a little look at this today. I mean, you know, look, I dug Alex Phillips out last week for what she said about Ben Habib, and I stand by that. But I thought she was good today. Have a little look at this. This is about the Egyptian. Well, Alex will tell the story. Oh, can you hear that? No, hold on.
I'm going to go on this. Why on God's earth is a man who was making bombs in Egypt for the Muslim Brotherhood, one of the most extremist Islamist organization that has terrorized the world, that most Islamic countries ban. This man was put in prison in Egypt for 8 years. When he comes out of prison, he runs off to Turkey, doesn't he? And then from there, he makes his way illegally over to the country. He breaks into the country to claim asylum. The Home Office know he's a bomb maker. They know he's a terrorist. But instead of saying, we don't want the likes of you over here, sunshine, oh no, they give him luxury accommodation in a hotel in the middle of London. So I thought to myself, well, maybe they think at least we can keep some eyes on. We can't actually put him in prison because he's not done anything in the UK yet. We can't deport him to Egypt because international law says he might actually end up going back to prison there, or so on and so forth. So at least you sit there and think, maybe they're going to be observant of this character, because Lord knows he might be going down to Screwfix to buy a massive bag of nails. He might be ordering fertilizer online. He might be making a bomb vest. He might be sitting there planning how he's going to blow up a classroom of little English girls. So you would hope that they might watch this person to make sure he's not going to do wicked things to our country, in our country, while we pay to put him up in a hotel. But clearly, no. There wasn't eyes on this terrorist, because he was able to wander freely around and go and rape a woman in a park in the middle of London. This isn't just balmy. This is suicidal. This is sheer negligence. This is one of the most disgusting stories I've ever read in the newspaper. Ever.
I agree with you more, Alex.
There you go. There's Alex Phillips. And as I say, I mean, all I can do is applaud every single word she said there, boys. But don't worry, don't worry about that because they've had Danny. They've checked up Danny. They've pulled Danny. They've pulled Richard, and no doubt they'll pull me the next time I come through at Gatwick. So we're perfectly safe.
Don't worry, Paul. I'll smuggle you, mate. Don't worry about it.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. But she's absolutely spot on, isn't she? I mean, it's insane. It's beyond insane now.
Listen, I mean, the lunatics have taken over the asylum. That's all these scumbags in the Home Office that they all need to be fired. They all need to go. This network of leftists and brotherhood supporters that set themselves up in the Home Office, they need to go. They need to be fired. And if they've done anything illegal, they need to be sent to prison. Because I think there's a lot going on.
Here's the big question now, boys, right? Here's the big question is that the United States, and I believe also Holland, now has prescribed Antifa and designated them as a terrorist organisation. I wonder how many people are sitting in our Home Office right now that have links to Antifa. I wonder.
I think quite few, to be honest, because
it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
well, I mean, there's no links between Antifa and Irish Republicans in Northern Ireland. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility that there's a something very sinister in the offing. And what's happening in Northern Ireland is a generation of young Irish Catholics are getting radicalized because of the nonsense that's going on in the Gaza Strip. Because, well, not the nonsense that's going on, the nonsense that's been talked about it in the West. And there's a generation of young Irish Catholics that are getting radicalized. And no doubt at some point, somebody's going to do something stupid, take the law into their own hands and get themselves a very, very lengthy prison sentence. But no, Danny, 6 hours in the pen. Tommy grabbed, charged for not giving the details. I hope that case collapses because to me, I know I'm not going to talk about it because it's a live case, but the reality is the way anti-terror, let's talk generically, the way anti-terror legislation is being used must be against human rights law. It's got to be. You cannot hold Danny. You cannot try and get me. You can't do that when you've got no evidence that they're involved in anything more sinister than standing at a demonstration saying, stop the boats.
Andrew Cole, thank you, mate. Please can Kieran Dewar's bit from Saturday Yvette posted on a YouTube as a standalone video? I'm not quite sure what you mean. I don't know if anyone else does, but I think
he wants to maybe find it and play it. We can maybe do that in a different stream.
Okay, thank you. Jackie, thank you. 3 have gone. 3. Oh, wow. Well, it's sorted. We're sorted.
It's done. It's all over.
Evening, Sight. How you doing? Fuzzbin, I have a criticism. Our chants have not conveyed our demands. We've only merely insulted Starmer, lefties. We must now start including Labour resign in our message. This is our aim for the people. Thank you very much for that. No.
Yes, Paul.
Now, a big news yesterday. Big news from where was it? It was Hertfordshire, wasn't it?
It was Hertsmere Borough Council.
Hertsmere Borough Council. Fill us in, though. What's been going on?
So Hertsmere Borough Council is the area of like Boreham Wood, Radlett, that kind of like area of like Hertfordshire, where it's kind of like at the more sort of near end of like London. So it's quite far down towards Hertfordshire, just so that people know.
Very expensive area as well, by the way. Very posh area.
It is a very, very expensive area. You know, I mean, you look at Radlett, it's incredibly affluent, and certain areas of Boreham Wood are very affluent as well. Shenley, all that sort of area. You know, now we're talking, extreme wealth. So a councillor yesterday stood up. Sorry, not yesterday. It was on Wednesday. Sorry, my mistake. Stood up in the chamber and referred to the organisers of Operation Raising the Flags and Unite the Kingdom as criminals, extremists, and nonsense. And I'm not going to disguise my anger. I am absolutely fuming over this. When I heard this certain councillor, and I'm sure that you'll play the clip so that everybody can hear what he said, particularly with what's happened recently with Charlie Kirk, I'm absolutely disgusted that an elected official would stand up and actually use the term as nonsense. Now, I know you personally, Paul, and I know Richard. I don't know you. Sorry, is it Sharp? Is it? Yeah, I don't know you, Sharp. I know Paul. Paul, you know, has got grandchildren. He's got children. And for a councillor to make a remark like that is absolutely disgusting. And more importantly, with the lads who have organised, you know, for everybody to go out, place either, you know, St. George's or the Union flag on lamppost, bridges, etc., etc. You know, he's been called a far-right Nazi, all of these sorts of things. Now you throw in very, very dangerously a nonce into this equation. For me, that was enough. I've had enough of it. I've actually had enough of it now, Paul. Like, I am literally on the warpath over this. I'm absolutely disgusted.
Yeah, I mean, I made a video about it yesterday. I actually haven't got that clip in this stream tonight, Noel, because I put the whole video up earlier on. But as you said, he referred to them as extremists. What were the
so the councillor's name, I was just holding back the name. So the councillor's name is Jeremy Newmark, yeah? So he is the leader of Hertfordshire Council. He is elected and he is Labour. And it was him who, he was being challenged by a Conservative councillor. I don't have the name of the councillor to hand. And he was very aggressive in his approach. And I've heard other instances with this councillor as well, where he's a horrific bully towards women.
I've heard that today, yeah. Allegedly. I mean, here we go. I've got the quote in front of me now. He described organisers as extremists, criminals, nonces, and sex offenders. Now, this is the language of someone. I mean, look, this language is extremely inflammatory, extremely dangerous. And on top of that, it's completely and utterly untrue. And yeah, go on, Richard.
Look, I mean, I'm one of the organisers of the event. Spent a lot of time and effort on Saturday keeping people safe. Yeah, I don't want to, you know, blow me on trumpet, but there would have been a crush if we hadn't done what we did on Saturday, no doubt about it. You know, so the reality is that, you know, while he was making slanderous accusations, we were saving people's lives and making sure the event was peaceful. You know, but hey ho, you know, who's got the moral high ground here? And I've had this, Paul. I've had it across here. You know, I could name there's two individuals that have slandered. One individual across the Northern Ireland slandered me for years. He's an absolute lunatic. He's a grifter. He steals money off patriots. And basically, this guy has attacked me for years. I just ignore him. I won't even name him. And now I've got another one across here in Northern Ireland that's doing exactly the same, slandering me, attacking me. And the reality is that the best, from my point of view, I can't afford to take defamation cases. I haven't got the 50 grand to get someone into court. So it's very difficult to actually defend yourself. So I think what Noel's doing, and you'll find out in a minute, I think is absolutely fantastic, because it gives us a right to reply without having to get into court. And I think it's 50 grand to get a defamation action going. Do you know what I mean? I can't do that. So people say what the hell they want about you. You can't defend yourself. Do you know what I mean?
What have you done, Noel? Tell the viewers what's gone on today.
Okay, so as of today, I've lodged a formal complaint with the CEO of Hertfordshire Council, and I've done it through the official channels. And also, I've got 9 other branch chairs in Hertfordshire also as well to back this action. And in no uncertain terms, have you got it there, Paul, where you can show the viewers what exactly?
I can't actually get it up, no, unfortunately.
That's all right. You can get stuff for that, Paul.
Okay. So, I mean, look,
honestly, the quality of this show sometimes it's the floor, doesn't it?
Oh God! Do you know what? I didn't even for a minute. The penny didn't even drop with me. It literally didn't even drop. I was about to get into a good flow then.
On top of that, I've got the world's only Brentford fan in the bloody chat as well. Blimey, you're more likely to find the gold sovereign in the street than you are a Brentford fan. But there you
go. So obviously we've taken sort of immediate action regarding this. And the long and short of it is that I've asked the councillor that he needs to provide evidence of these allegations, or he will need to resign. And something very, very recently that went on here in Hertfordshire, well, it actually came under the Decorum Borough Council, which is the council here. Now, Hertfordshire County Council is Lib Dems, so they're the ones who pretty much run the local authorities, is the Liberal Democrats. So recently there was an instance at Faisal's Wood, which is where cadets use like military facilities. And there was a camp that was being set up that had links to the Iranian Ayatollah. And all the branch chairs came together and we fiercely opposed this camp going forwards because we believed that it had links towards extremism. So currently at the moment, with the way that Reform are polling, and we're getting people elected into councils, local elections, county council elections, we are actually noticing and seeing through results that we are getting the results. And this can't be ignored, Paul. This complaint cannot be ignored because 9 other branch chairs have also backed my action as well. And for me to call somebody with no evidence a nonce is absolutely disgusting. And it's like what I said, Paul, you know, you've got grandchildren, you've got children. Rich, I don't know what your situation is in Sharp. And I find that sort of language is absolutely disgusting, considering how we know how the British people actually feel about paedophiles.
Yeah,
you know, when we see how paedophiles are treated, and anybody who that has abused children, sexually abused children, anything to do with that, I find it completely disgusting that an elected official would use that sort of language. And it's not something that I'm willing to tolerate.
No, and I'd like to congratulate you and thank you on behalf of everyone for your efforts towards that. You know, I'm sure we all really appreciate it because obviously in the position that you're in, it brings a bit of power and it brings a bit of leverage and, you know, it brings eyes to the situation. And as you say, you know, look, here's the irony of it, guys, right, is that he has labelled hundreds of thousands of people with that word. He's accused the organisers of having of being sex offenders without any evidence. He's just carte blanche labelled everyone, and these are precisely the things that we are fighting for. So he has labelled us exactly the things that we are fighting to hold, you know, against. It's disgraceful. And you know, the other thing that I didn't know, which actually really surprises me, and actually really is, it makes me really sad. This gentleman is Jewish.
Mm.
Now, you think, with all due respect, that he would know better. I mean, for God's sake, we've been fighting their corner in many respects.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I mean, that's, you know, as you know, I have a lot of Jewish friends and they can't stand, they call them capos. They're basically people that actually, you know, stand with the enemy against the rights of the Jewish people, against the interests of the Jewish people and the Israelis. Most Jews absolutely despise people like this fella, you know, so he's not typical of Jewish people. He's a lefty Jew, and you know, it's totally, you know, it's like the same with us. We hate the lefties, not hate them, but we do. Yeah, we do. We don't like the lefties on our side.
Rich, he's a bully. He's an institutional bully. That's what he is. And obviously one of the reasons as well why I've taken such decisive action regarding this, fully backed up as well by the other branch chairs, and also our councillors as well. I mean, this is going to get massively debated, you know, through their various sources, through the chambers. This is one thing that is just not going to go away, and I'm going to make sure that this doesn't go away, because I've taken decisive action over this. Because, like I say, I was truly disgusted at what you know, this councillor had said, and if we don't clamp down on allegations like that being made, then what comes next? And we keep being sold by this current government, you know, everybody's far right. You know, Sadiq Khan, I don't think he knows any more words than far right. All I ever hear coming out of his mouth is far right. Well, I believe that the real threat now to the United Kingdom is the far left.
Of course, always has been. Has been since the Second World War. Absolutely no doubt about it, Noel. And again, I want to echo what Paul said. Thank you, Noel, for doing this, because I couldn't have fought against this. Like I say, I ain't got the money to get these people into a defamation court, even though it is defamation. It's absolutely, because they haven't named me personally. I can't. They've named Tommy personally, so Tommy should seriously think about dragging them into a defamation court. But here's the thing about this as well, right? And again, I want to address all the people that we've had in the chat down through the years. Oh, politics doesn't work. No point getting involved in politics. You're wasting your time. Now, I want to tell you something, right? All you in the chat that think the politics is a waste of time. If Noel wasn't an elected representative, he would not be able to do this.
Yeah.
If he was, Joe on the street that got upset about this, all he could do is go on social media like we're doing. But Noel has put his head in the noose, stood for election twice, elected as a councillor, and he's got all his colleagues in there. And look, everyone knows I'm no fan of Nigel and Reform and the project. I'm back in advance. But I want to tell you something. Our friends in Reform at grassroots level, like Noel, we are standing shoulder to shoulder on absolutely everything, apart from the leadership of Reform. And we're all friends. I've got loads of friends that are in Reform. I've got loads of friends that are in UKIP. We're all in this fight together, and in Restore as well. And come 2029, believe you me, I think something will come together, and there'll be an amazing coming together. And I think there'll be a massive victory for the genuine right. And anybody that's a wrong, and I think will fall by the wayside. I think there'll be
exactly
balances that we found.
And whilst we're on that subject, whilst we're blowing smoke up your backside, no, I'll blow a little bit more. I mean, listen, Noel has been with us. He is a friend. He's a loyal individual, and he's one of the top guys in this movement. Although we are in different camps politically, but we remain very dear friends, and we share all the same beliefs, basically. So, Jackie Lee, thank you. Paul, you've taken some stick about your super chats. Well, the BBC mug us off every year. Talk bullshit. At least we get the truth from you, darling. Worth every penny. Poor Tommy should have gone to Bogner. Thank you very much, Jackie. He should have gone to Bogner. Yeah,
Paul, can I address the super chats as well, Paul? Right?
Yeah.
One, like, not every single penny that comes in from a super chat goes to you. And I know that you've been very generous in how you've shared those super chats out with people, because I'm well aware of what you've done and how you've helped people. And as well as that, if you were watching, I don't know, Eubank against Ben and it was on pay-per-view, well, guess what? You ain't seeing it unless you do your pay-per-view. We're not putting a gun to anyone's head and saying, give us a super chat. I'm delighted that people are supporting me, Paul, with super chats. I'm delighted they're supporting you. Anyone that doesn't like it, you try putting the effort that we put into this, where you literally, this becomes pretty much all you're doing, because it takes up so much of your time and so much of your effort. So if people don't like it, I don't care. Just don't watch my channel. It's as simple as that.
Just out of interest, I had over 600 WhatsApp messages yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
600.
Exactly.
Lorianne, thank you. Richard, thank you for your hard work last weekend. Absolutely. A sterling job indeed. And, I think you probably potentially saved lives last week, Richard.
Do you know what, Paul? It sounds dramatic, right? But I know that's true.
Well, I had a couple of people message me during the event, and they said, I'm getting really worried. This is starting to remind me of Hillsborough.
There you go. And that's exactly, and honestly, the tipping point between somebody getting crushed to death and somebody being a bit squashed is a very narrow margin. And I saw that sea of people that were trying to get in there. And of course, I'm not being disrespectful. There's a lot of people who didn't have the wit to realize when we're saying don't go down there, we're doing it because, and I was saying to people, see, when people were saying, I want to go down there, I want to hear it. I said, so do you want to kill a child? Is that what you want to do? I was just blunt with people. I was as blunt as that. And they turned around, to be fair. They turned around when it was explained to them exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
So I think it was a miracle. And I think Pastor Chris Wickland was praying for us. And I need to speak to Chris. I want to get Chris on the live, because we had 10 stewards across that line, Paul. You know how wide Whitehall is. We 10 stewards and 10 police officers. And until the police really started blocking roads, which again was the right thing to do. And again, I want to pay credit to I can't remember the guy's surname, but the gold commander called Dave. He was the one that flagged it up. So he'd obviously got the the information from the helicopter, because they can see it's just getting too dense and too dense. And Simon, the sergeant that was the liaison, and all of those stewards, most of all, because that's their job, right?
They're the guys. They're the coppers that I met with you, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah. But anyway, but that's their job, and they did the job well, as far as I'm concerned. Like I say, no time for the counter-terror cops that are messing about playing games. But those public order coppers, in my opinion, really didn't put a foot wrong. The riot cops on the baseline got a bit aggy, but that's it's understandable. Listen, it is what it is, right? It's not not a big drama. But
I mean,
I want to say this, Paul, before I forget. I want to pay tribute to those 10 stewards that came up from Downing Street and stood across that road, because they put their lives in danger. And some of these were elderly people,
and they're working for free. They're working for free, and they're elderly. And not all of them were elderly, but they were extremely brave. And it was that old Dunkirk spirit. Do you know what I mean? And I just want to pay massive tribute to them, because they ain't got any thanks off anybody. Nobody's thanked those 10 people that did that. They're just back into their normal lives and all the rest of it. I want to if you're watching this, any of you guys, brilliant. And there was another steward. There was a guy. There's a lot of heroes in this.
There was another steward helped me at the form up point as well. And sadly I don't know his name. I've seen him about. I think he's in the football scene. Really good lad, and he got a grip of one side of the road as well. And again, kept it calm and kept it in order. So those people deserve thanks. Do you know what I mean? Because they did that day was an extraordinary day, and there was extraordinary dangers there. I don't want to over talk about that, because I don't want to put people coming off. Next time, if we get what we want next time, that will be impossible to happen at the staging area. It just won't happen, because we're looking to get a big park, right? So that can't happen next time it happens. But again, just some very, 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 very brave people that put them, and a lot of those people didn't like being in that crowd, because it was scary. It was scary, no doubt about it. It was scary.
No, absolutely, Richard, you're right, and massive respect and thanks to all of those that are involved. So, if you were there in and around the crowd, did the size of the crowd surprise you? The sheer depth of it?
Yeah, it did, because the thing was, I was actually with somebody who was attending it for the very first time. I'm a bit claustrophobic as well, so I understand what Richard is saying. And I was actually seeing a lot of people who've seen me getting a bit claustrophobic. And the moment I got that claustrophobia, I was trying to think maybe I need to get out. And they were actually helping me. And these were just local people there. And the guy that was with me, he literally asked me that, have you seen this ever before? And I said, no, I've been to the one when Tommy got arrested. It was in October last year, where I met you guys as well. I don't think it was half of what we have seen this time. That was absolutely nothing.
That was maybe the 10th,
Yeah, exactly. So like I said, it was very well done. Like I said, I was in the front, I was right at the back, I was on the sides, and all the stewards, they were just working non-stop. I met them, I took pictures with them, and obviously as I was going around, because I've got I get claustrophobic, like I said, so I was thanking each and every one of them as I was coming across, and I said, man, the work that you guys are doing, if you weren't here today, I don't know what would have happened. Because like I said, it was like a free speech festival. Everybody was happy, even though there were people arriving late, there were people who got there early, then there were people on the bikes as well, because there was a path where there were people who were not attending it, but they were crossing through it. When they were crossing through it, some of them were drunk, but they were not part of the movement at all, and they were the one who were blocking the ins and outs. And I think that was the only problem that we had. Other than that, it was no problem at all.
And I'll tell you what makes, all this really, when you look at what went on, when you look at the sheer amount of people, the sheer volume, the sheer numbers of people that attended, when you look at what potentially could have gone wrong and how well that they went and how few arrests and how few problems there actually were, it makes the criticism of the mainstream media and the government, the Prime Minister, the Home Secretary, the Mayor of London, it makes their words even more shallow and more disgusting than ever. Because instead of giving the credit that was due to those people, if you've got people going to that event thinking, do you know what, I'm going to follow the advice of Tommy, I'm going to listen to Paul and Richard and the guys that say stay calm, behave yourselves, act decently, thank the police when you leave. Well, when we do that, we only get slagged off anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I think, look, here's the thing. I think I think there was a spiritual dynamic to it. I think God was there, and it was supernaturally calm. I've never seen a crowd of that size so happy. Look, people had a few drinks, or some people had a few drinks, but there was no, there just wasn't. And even the guys up on the scaffolding were a great laugh. I mean, they were just having a laugh, and I mean that, like I say, there was a little bit of pushing and shoving at one point, from a few things, but it was nothing. Considering, I think there was 1 million people there personally. That's my estimate. I think there was 1 million people there, and the other thing is, I was somebody put in the comments there, they're not going next time because there was people a bit aggy on the train and so on and so forth. I get that, but do you know what? I would encourage everybody to go next time. And take a friend with you, because I think we can get 2 million people there. And if we have 2 million people on the streets of London in May next year, right? And what I'm hoping for is a very long march. There's been a long march through the institutions.
I've been out the loop for the last couple of days, Richard, very busy with other things, within the movement, but not this. Is there a proposed date for the next rally?
No, I mean, well, I've heard. I'm not going to put any dates out because, again, things change. So there's no point, because if people go and start booking stuff, but we're talking about May, right? Let's talk about May, and basically, look, if you've got a massive crowd, the best thing you can do with a massive crowd is give them a really long route to walk, right? Because it takes the pressure off, and there's other things you can do as well, but I'm not going to go into that. There's other things you do to mitigate, because then what happens is the problem becomes at the start point, not at the end point. But excuse me, I think we've learned a lot from Saturday. I certainly have. And
the Westminster Council also have to step up to the plate and give us something a little bit more tangible. Let me move on just for a moment. Yardy123, thank you. Patriots should overload this council with emails and phone calls to show them the people they serve are not happy with their comments. I'm perfectly fine with that. One thing I will say, I have seen 1 or 2 messages in the chat this evening that I don't agree with. Anyone that is abusive or aggressive, that's not what we should be doing, right? Let me make that very, very, very clear. The lovely Claire Bear, thank you, Claire. No, I phoned the council about that. Could only get reception. I wanted to complain for us women because we are nonces. Disgusting, absolutely disgusting.
I think what we've got to do now, I think, look, here's the thing, Paul, right? We've got the numbers now, right? We've got the moral authority. The worst thing that we can do is do anything that brings us into disrepute. What he's done is insulting, disgusting. The way the whole hotel thing's been handled is absolutely disgusting. The way the left and the media have behaved is reprehensible. But we can do this by winning the moral high ground. We're English and British and Irish and Northern Irish and Welsh and Scottish. We are good people. We're moral people. And
Richard, we don't have the moral high ground. We have the moral mountain, my friend. We are standing on top of a moral mountain right now.
Mount Everest, the moral Mount Everest.
Look what has been going on with the violence that the left have been creating, including murder. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Charlie Kirk later on as well, guys, if you don't mind.
Well, can I say this, Paul? And I was talking to Sammy Woodhouse. Sammy told me there were 82,000 grooming cases in Bradford.
Wow.
82,000 in Bradford alone. Yeah.
It's beyond
and
belief.
That's, and this is, and the left are morally bankrupt. They're reprehensible. And you look at Charlie Kirk and you look at his widow and you look at the dignity. And I think, and I said this to you last week, Paul, when we were talking about Charlie Kirk. I didn't know Charlie Kirk, knew nothing about him. But I admire that man. I admire his moral fortitude, his integrity, his family values. And I can learn a lot from that man, even though he's dead and he's got to be with Christ. We can all learn a lot from that man because he was an absolute moral hero, let alone a hero in the way he lived and died. He was just a superb man. And that's what we need to do. He was always polite. He was always courteous, but he won the arguments because he knew his stuff and he knew what he was talking about. Yeah. And I think, that's what we need.
Earlier on, I played a video that depicted a woman who is allegedly a police officer. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yeah.
Now, I have details here of who I believe that person to be. If it's true, it is so shocking, it is unbelievable. And I'm not going to read out what I'm being told right now because I haven't verified.
Yeah.
I haven't got verification. But if it's true, who this person may well turn out to be, it's going to blow your mind. That's all I can say. I'll look into that further when I get the chance. Danny is watching. Danny from Spain is watching in the car driving home. He's got his father-in-law over, I believe. And that's why Danny's not on tonight. Kevin, thank you. Have you seen the Tommy interview with CNN? Truly historic. Yep, we certainly did. Graham, thank you. Excellent conversation. I'm with you 100%. And brown tissue, Wikipedia saying Advanced UK are far right. Listen, brown tissue, we're all far right these days. I've given up worrying about that old crap, honestly.
Honestly, it's
Giving up worrying about it.
You know, it just got to let it go now, because it's all they've got. It's the only thing that they've got left. And it's like I said, you know, our London mayor, all he keeps saying is the far right. The far right. I think even when there was ULEZ protesters a couple of years ago, you know, he said that they're far right people that are outside. You know, everyone's far right according now to the left. Well, we're just going to throw it back and just start saying, well, they're far left.
Say it again, sorry. Oh, no, sorry, it's fine, yeah.
No, I was going to say, and look, all that does is actually dilute the real far right, you know, but by calling everyone, mums and dads, nan and granddads, far right fascists, it protects the people that are really in that position. Interestingly enough, I mentioned earlier on, Antifa now banned in the United States. Antifa now banned in the Netherlands. Richard, I think I know what your answer is going to be, but should they be banned in the UK?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, 100%. I mean, they're not a peaceful protest organisation. They go there looking for violence. They go there looking to attack people. You know, if they saw me walking down the street on my own, that, you know, and there's half a dozen of them,
you're going to get beaten up. Yeah.
Well, no, half a dozen, they get beaten up, mate. But that's another thing.
Yeah. So, but I think, I don't know, Paul, if you know, I was coming back from somewhere last week, and there was this pro-Pally protest going on, and they seen my car, and they actually attacked my car. And when they attacked my car, I called 999 because I was like, you know what, I'm in the middle of the street, and I can't really go anywhere because I had my family with me, and I've got a special needs daughter. And she was in the back, and my special needs daughter, she got really bad anxiety. And I called 999, and I told them exactly what has happened. And I said, look, I'm not going to move my car from here unless you come and you deal with these guys, because they do this all the time. And they hold this pro-Pally, hateful marches once a week, every Thursday. So I literally stood there, and I said to the police, okay, are you going to come or not? But the police didn't turn up. And while they were with me on the phone, two security guards turned up, and they were pretending to be police officers. But because I was so stressed, I just didn't know what was going on. They were wearing the high vis, and I said to them, are you police? And they said, yeah, we are police. So while police was on the phone with me, so they were like, okay, you got the police officer there, we're going to hang up. I came out of my car. I spoke to that guy, and he started shouting at me, oh, you need to get back in your car and you need to go. I said, why do I need to go? Because these people are attacking me. I was literally just going home. I don't care, you have your protest, we have ours, and you have yours. I don't mind, but why would you attack me? Because they know my car, they know where I live. So that happened, and then I got home. I called I called the non-emergency police number, and I spoke to them. And this was last week. And up until now, I haven't heard anything back from them. And they told me that there will be police officers coming to my house, and they will be speaking to me in regards to it because I filmed them. And they were flipping me. You know, the thing is, I feel so sad that I go to the town center. I go to shopping with my wife and my daughter, and when we are there, what happens is they see me and they start, they come close to me. They start calling me a Nazi. They start calling me a fascist. They start calling me an ex-Muslim as well. That's the new thing that they're doing, trying to put more target on my back. And I'm sure you guys know, if somebody's there with an ex-Muslim, regardless of what my faith is or what not is, there are so many lunatics, they will be looking to get rid of me. And that's what they say, well, get rid of this guy. That means they want to, unalive me. They want to get rid of me, basically, from this earth. And I have taken that to the police. I have got the death threats. I've screenshotted everything, but the police didn't do anything. And today, I'm sure, Paul, you've seen the video where the guy turned up to my house and asking me to remove my flag. Obviously, I don't know exactly what are the ins and outs, and I'm going to look at the policy tomorrow morning. But unfortunately, I've come to a point where I'm just saying, you know what, I will take the flag off. Before it was like, I'm not going to take it off. but because of my safety of my family, I need to take it. I got threats from the Muslim community. I've got threats from these white nationalists. And now I've been having threats from the police. The harassment from the police is still under investigation for something like being a racist with the Muslim community. And now I have got this another thing, that the place where I'm living, they're coming up to me and they're saying, oh, you can't have this and you can't have that. Like I said, I would love to fight, and I've been fighting. But unfortunately, a time is coming where I see it and I'm like, you know what, maybe, just maybe, I need to take off this flag. As much as I hate to do that, but I have to. But this is what the thing that people are not understanding. And this all happened after Charlie Kirk's death, because I used to follow him. I used to love him. And the reason why I used to follow Charlie is because he was the guy who was speaking up, who was having debates. And these were really, really respectful, peaceful debates where he was making sense. And he was filling that void that we couldn't fill up, because obviously there are times when we do get angry, when we do say things, when we lose all the, you lose an argument the moment you start behaving, you start being disrespectful. So when he was doing that, obviously, and this is in the message to the lefties, I know a lot of the lefties probably watching it, for them, they have gotten rid of Charlie. But the problem is, because of now these lefties, everybody is Charlie. I am doing what Charlie would have done. So there is a void now, and I would like people to come out and fill that void that he did it for us. Now it's our time to do it back for them, because he can't do it anymore. He's not here with us. So we need to come out and we need to do the thing that he's doing. But your friend just said, that calling us far right, labeling us as thugs and nonsense, that it put our lives in danger. And the amount of lunatics that we have got in the UK, and I'm talking about the Muslim community, the amount of idiots in there, and they're like, you know what, we need to get rid of them. Oh, we are here not to live peacefully, we are here to take over. And I think that's the problem we've got. And yeah, that's it's really sad, but unfortunate. This is true.
Let me give you a bit of, let me give you one little bit of safety advice that you may have to use in the future. If anyone comes knocking on your door looking for trouble, just tell them it's all Richard Inman's fault.
Yeah, send her out of me.
England forevermore. Take me back to 1980. I miss my shell suit and Walkman. Happy days. So many peeps around then. Absolutely, mate. Andy NJW. What's on your TV? I don't know. It's been turned off now. It was George and Mildred. Bit of George and Mildred.
I want to come in on what Shohab was saying there, Paul, because I think this is a really important thing.
Yeah. And
it's a serious point. I mean, what happened to Charlie Kirk happened because he was continually demonized by the left. Media commentators. I mean, look at those what's that scumbag rat that's just lost his job in America? Trump was mentioning there. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't care what his name was.
Jimmy Kimmel.
That's it. Yeah.
Who was it?
Yeah. Jimmy someone or other.
Yeah. Jimmy, not the gent. I mean, just disgusting, making jokes about Charlie Kirk. Same as that rapper, disgusting. Now, I don't think that should be illegal. I think we should let them say what they're going to say. If someone's dead, you can't defame a dead man, so you can't take them for defamation. So the reality is, if they want to say horrible things, but it shows the moral destitution of the left, how disgusting they are. If I heard that something really bad had happened to, I'm not going to name anyone, but somebody on the left, I wouldn't be getting the banners out and saying that's a great thing. Do you know what I mean? I would think that person had a family, they had kids, and what they're doing when they're doing this sort of stuff. And I've had the slander, Paul. You've had the slander, Noel. I think you've had it. Danny's had it. They're actually putting a target on. They're putting a mark on you. They're putting what's called a mark on you. And all it takes is what, like you said, Shaw, one idiot to. I never used to have security at demos, right? I have security when I go to a demo now, and I don't want it. The people that care about me are saying, "Rich, we're going to give you a security guard." I don't want it. And they're saying, "No, you're having it." And to be honest with you, I'm glad I had it. I'm glad I had it. I mean, I shook him off. I shook him off when I went and did the thing on Parliament Street. But he's he's a really good lad, Martin. And if you're watching, Martin, thanks very much. And Jamie and John, thanks for setting that up. But the reality is that's the situation that we're in now. That there's
absolutely. I mean, a word on the security boys. I mean, John, Jamie, Craig, all the boys that help look after us.
And don't forget about Ian and Harvey that looked after, Ben as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All the lads, Bill and that, they help us. Now look, people say to me, "Oh, why do you have security, Paul?" Do you know what? I never ask for it. They always insist. They say, "Paul, we're coming with you, whether you like it or not. We're going to be there for you." I'm not someone that wants to walk around with bodyguards and security men around me. I don't want that. But They see the danger. They know the danger. And those guys, as you know, they're very, very good at their job. They have, we have been with them. I think you was there, Richard, when they spotted people that we haven't.
Yeah.
And they've turned out to be right. So, you know, this is the situation we've got into. Guys, I want to...
Sorry, Paul, can I just quickly interject there?
Sure.
I think anybody now that raises their head above the parapet wall needs protection, needs security. And just one of my points that I was going to come to, let's go back to the Lucy Connolly saga, the debacle with Lucy Connolly, who was obviously sent to prison for a tweet. How on earth on this planet can that Bob Villain, is that his name? Is it Bob Villain? I've never heard of this guy. Is that his name? Is it Rob or Bob Villain? The guy that's shouting
Bob Violin or something like that.
Yeah, Bob Villain. Never had I heard of this bloke. And I'm really actually quite gutted that I have heard of this guy. I mean, the things that he has been saying is absolutely disgusting. And yet again, we come back to two-tier Britain, two-tier justice, two-tier Britain. And these are clear examples of two-tier justice and two-tier Britain. That this man can stand on a stage in front of everybody, shout death to the IDF, nothing happens to him.
Yep.
And then the other day, he uses foul language against Charlie Kirk, basically mugging him off that he's just been shot. How on earth is it that Lucy Connolly is arrested for a tweet and this man can come out on stage in front of thousands of people, in front of the TV, and talk the rhetoric that he can talk with absolutely no repercussions whatsoever? Yes, he's lost a few gigs, but why are the police not at his door?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, Noel, you know, I don't think either Lucy Connolly or Charlie, whatever his name is, Rob Villain, whatever his name, I don't even know. I can't remember these people's names. But this villain character, I don't think any of them should be getting a knock from the police. I think at the end of the day, you should have. I'm a free speech absolutist unless it's inciting murder or it's defamation. And there's laws already.
But it was because he did say death to the IDF.
Oh yeah, on that one, yeah, well, that one, yeah, definitely. I agree on that one, absolutely. That was inciting terrorism, I would say. Yeah,
but because he was allowed to get away with that, that's what I'm saying.
I agree on that one, Noel, because death to the IDF. I've got friends who've got grandchildren that have either served in the IDF or are still serving in the IDF who are British citizens, but they served in Israel because they've got dual nationality. And that sets them up for assassination from Islamist death squads in the UK without a shadow of doubt. And this, again, it goes full circle. It goes back down to the counter-terror thing. Why on earth are counter-terror looking at me, looking at Danny, looking at Tommy, looking at Callum Webster? You know, why are they looking at innocent people when there are genuine terrorists who are running around this country and plotting heinous? And here's the thing: there will be another Islamist attack. It's just a question of when. Yeah.
Well, God forbid, God forbid, I hope that you're wrong. You know,
I hope I'm wrong too.
Yeah,
but I don't think I am.
And you know, our security services, you know, they work very, very hard, you know, to prevent these things.
They do.
You know, from happening. And you know, I mean, recently they foiled that terror plot. Was it in Greater Manchester, where I believe that 4 Iranian terror suspects, and I believe that an attack was imminent. But thank God we've got the security services that we've got the intelligence that we've got, you know, who hopefully will keep a lid on this. But yes, I think the point that you're making is that we are living in very, very dangerous times.
And
yeah, it's very, very dangerous times, which brings it full circle round to the fact that, you know, we're talking about security, etc. Because I put my head above the parapet wall, people that are close to me have also, you know, started relaying that sort of information to me, to the point now I'm actually, you know, Paul, we were having this conversation the other day. You've got a Rottweiler. I'm thinking about sort of getting a cane corso dog or one of those pressers or something like that, because it's like I say, it's that, you know, that maniac, that idiot, where that mark has been put on your back. And I think this is one of the reasons why I'm taking it so seriously about calling people nonsense. And I'm just not going to let this go. And I just feel at the moment that we're at the point, or we're at this crossroads, that there's so much two-tier of everything that's going on. Because with this Bob Villain, by him shouting death to, indirectly it affects Jewish people.
All
Indirectly,
Jewish people. All Jewish
yeah,
people.
of course it does. Not
they
just
know
the
they're doing that.
Israeli Defense Forces. It affects all Jewish people by him
Yeah.
saying something like that. And these people do not realise how dangerous their rhetoric actually is.
No, you're wrong there, Noel. They know exactly how dangerous it is, and they don't care. They're
Yeah.
evil people. That's the problem. We're giving them far too much moral credit. These are evil, sinister, satanic.
They know what they're
They
doing.
know exactly what they're doing.
And I think it's with the lefties as well, because I know this personally. Within the Pakistani culture, what it is, there will be people who don't want to get in trouble with the police, and they will hope and expect some lunatics hear what they are saying, and they will come out and they will attack them. And these will be lonely guys, like the Charlie Kirk shooter. He was a nobody. Nobody knew who he was, whatever the hell was going on. But they were people banking on people like that. They come out and they shoot him, and guess what he did? And that's exactly what's going on. There are more than thousands and thousands on the left. They come out every single day chanting these things. It will take only one idiot to get that chance, and he'll be like, you know what, I'll go ahead. And like Lee Rigby, the guy who attacked and killed Lee Rigby on the street, he was some sort of, I don't know if he was an immigrant or, but he was a black guy, and it was the same thing. He was chanting about Muslims. Oh, he did this about Muslims. He did not even know it was the story. He heard something, and he decided to kill that guy.
There were two Muslim converts, Michael Adibalajo, I can't remember the other scumbag's name.
I'm sure they probably was a convert from jail. And usually it is these people who have done so much crime. They go to jail and they're like, oh, you know what? I'm a man of God. There is no problem turning and becoming a man of God. But then when you are brainwashed by these Muslims in jail and you're coming out to do their job, and that's it. That's the type of people that we see. I can't go out as well. I can't go out with my family. I'm always looking around. It's just, and people have started to notice me when I'm out and about, because what was happening before, when I used to go out, people will take a picture of me. If I'm meeting up with a friend of mine or meeting up with somebody that I was working with, they will take a picture of me and they will expect it to be a woman, and they will put it out there. Oh, look, this is his girlfriend. He's married. And this, nonsense, obviously, because I know exactly what I was doing. But this is the type of thing that happens to you. And it takes one guy who sees you out and like, oh no, that is a racist. That's an extremist. That's all this, and come and attack me. What would I do then? The thing is done. The police can't do anything. Nobody else can do anything because it's done. So yeah.
I genuinely feel that we don't matter to the law anymore. Let me read this out. Angel A, brilliant to see Shoaib showing his videos to my mixed race daughter, thinks he is great. There you go, mate. And I'm also very pleased to say that a lot of people have been making themselves known in my comments just recently who aren't white Indigenous Brits, and who are very proud to be a part of this community because they all have that red, white and blue heart. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's have a little look. Where are we? Wikipedia saying Advanced UK after. Yeah, we've done that one, didn't we? Thank you.
Yeah.
Bob, thanks, Bob. Paul, Richard, Tommy, there were at least 1 million souls at the march, but remember the 1 million that could not be there through poverty or work commitments.
Yep.
We love peace and kindness and our country. Well said, Bob.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing, I think, Paul, that basically, you can say there was probably 10 people that weren't there for everyone that was there, because it's very difficult to get to those things. It's very expensive. And it's a lot of hassle, and a lot of people just couldn't get there. And look, the bottom line is we're all the same, whether you were there or not. It's what you said, Paul. Whether you got red, white, and blue in your heart, and that's what counts. That's what counts. And again, I met some amazing people at that event, and I mean, reacquainted with Lawrence after me and Lawrence had a bit of handbags in October, and he's a great. Do you know what? Lawrence Fox is a great. Nice guy, and we stood there. We had a beer together. We didn't mention what had happened because it was nothing. It was just silly. And he said to me, Richard, he says, I fall out with everyone. He says, Lawrence, so do I. That means we're kindred spirit, and it was just really nice. So you know what, brilliant people in our movement.
We've got to come together, mate. We've got to come together. Lee Butcher, have you seen Craig Houston Axel arrest? I haven't seen that. Bob Hunter. Who do the left love? Let me know, please.
Paul. just to let you know, we gave a bit of misinformation earlier because we said that 800 migrants have made it across. Do you know what the grand total was today? Just come across now. 1,000. 1,000 illegal migrants came across the channel today because obviously it was a hot day today. And do you know how many were sent back? 3. Yeah.
They'll probably be back again next week.
Yeah,
John,
they will.
Burke, Richard, thank you again
Thanks,
for
John.
all your
Appreciate
hard work. UK Patriot, Bob Villan sang that at Glastonbury Festival. He did indeed, and the BBC covered that.
Yeah.
Bob Hunter, love conquers all. Thank you, Bob.
I
And
agree
thank
with
you very much, sweet hamster. Really appreciate that. I want to talk about well over 2,000 people in tonight, guys. Please don't forget to give us a thumbs up. That really helps. Before I get on to the Charlie Kirk thing that I want to speak about tonight, one thing about being a free speech absolutist, and I know that you describe yourself as a free speech absolutist, Rich. The only issue I have with absolute freedom of speech is precisely what you said earlier on, my friend, and that is that the law is equal for those that can afford it. Now, when someone deliberately lies about someone and makes up things that clearly aren't true and are so vile that it puts that person at risk, I believe that goes beyond free speech.
Well, Paul, but that's what I've always said, Paul. Like there's two circumstances where free speech isn't set aside, but where there are consequences for your free speech. One is direct incitement to violence or murder or terrorism or anything like that. 2, when you defame someone. And under current, before all this crazy hate speech nonsense came in, those have been covered for probably, well, I don't know how long, but for a long, long time. Those 2 cases, whether it's incitement to commit specific acts of murder, not saying, I wish all these people were dead. That's not incitement, which is what Lucy did. Lucy said they can burn the hotels for all I care. She didn't say go and burn the hotels. If she'd have said, I want you to go and burn this hotel.
Yeah, that would be different. Yeah.
Out in Mongolia or whatever, right? In this little obscure village. That would be incitement. But what she said was, and Paul, listen, if we believe in the principles of advance and we believe in the principle of the pledge, we have to be free speech absolutists. And those only 2 cases, defamation and incitement to commit acts of violence, are the only 2 cases where we can say, no, that they need to be dealt with by the law.
Do you know what we need, guys? Do you know what we need? What we need when we get into government, whoever that is, when we get into government and we've got all the right people in, I want to see a ministry of pricks set up, right? And what a ministry of pricks, for pricks. And what the ministry for pricks does is they have a little panel where some really sensible people sit on this panel and they find people on the internet that have been a right prick and they can go and fine them. I don't want them put in jail.
Paul,
I
don't think you get, mate. There's something about freedom I don't think you're really getting, brother. You know what I mean? I think we need to have a discussion about this.
Yeah, Richard, I get freedom, mate, but you see some of the things that people say about me and about you, they're pricks.
I don't care though. Listen, honestly, I've got a guy in Belfast. I don't want to say his name. He's an absolute prick, right? A complete prick.
Well, there you go. He's one for the ministry of pricks.
Let him blast away in his prickery. He can say what he wants. I don't care. I'm not going to mention his name because he wants the oxygen of publicity. But anybody that knows what he's saying knows who it is. And if he's watching, he knows who he is. And mate, you know who you are. You look like a prick. You act like a prick. It's because you are a prick.
There you go. Ministry for pricks. You're going to be on the front bench, Rich. Right,
I'm not going to be the minister for pricks, Paul.
Let's get on to something more serious, guys. Right now, I don't know how many of you have been watching this week. There are a lot of conspiracy theories coming out about the Charlie Kirk assassination, and I'm not going to get into them because I believe that there are people out there right now making videos about conspiracy theories purely to make money, and I think that's wrong. But I've watched a lot of videos this week. I've watched how the alleged killer, how he has made his way to that position, how he has got away from that position, what the FBI have alleged that he was carrying, and for those that don't know, they alleged that he carried his gun to the scene and from the scene, almost certainly with the gun being broken down with the barrel down his trousers and the stock, you know, the bit that you put in your shoulder for people that don't know about guns, in his backpack, etc. And I go along with all this. If you watch all the videos and you watch enough of the evidence, you can see that I believe what they're saying is probably spot on. There's one thing, or really two, that really bothers me about this, and I wanted to ask you, Richard, and you, Noel, because I know that you're both men that have experience with firearms. I've had quite a bit of experience with firearms myself over the years. When I initially heard the report from that gun, it didn't sound like a large caliber hunting rifle to me. That's the first thing, but not the most important thing. The most important thing, and I'd like your two's opinion on that report. Now, if anyone doesn't know what a report is, it's the report that you get to your ear from the muzzle of the rifle. In other words, the crack, the bang. That did not sound like a large hunting round or a medium to large size hunting round report from that rifle. It sounded to me, I said at the time, it sounded to me more like a closer range weapon that was with a suppressor, a silencer, for want of a better expression. They're not silencers because they don't silence anything. They just suppress the sound. The biggest thing that I find really intriguing about that, and this is not particularly a nice subject, but it's the wound.
Yeah.
It really doesn't make sense to me. Now, I've seen...
I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say. Because if it had been high velocity, it would have literally blown his whole throat out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a hole. It was like a hole near where the... Is it this? I can't remember which side it was, whatever side it was. I don't know. But again, I've seen the very close. I get that. I get all that. But do you know what? I remember getting shot at in Belfast. We were in a Land Rover. I didn't even hear it. Right? It just zinged over my mate's head. And it did happen, but I didn't hear it. And I remember another shooting. One of my mates was... So this is people actually... See, it's all right pulling the trigger, right? You pull the trigger, you hear what you hear, right? But... And Nola know this, when we used to do the butt parties, when you used to go on the range, right? When you do a butt party, you're hearing the crack and thump of the weapon, and you're hearing the rounds digging into the bank. Because when the way they used to do it in the military, I think it's all automated now. I'm sure it is, but we used to be behind the flipping big lump of flipping big mound of soil.
Bang.
Targets up, targets down. You got it on a big frame, and you hold it up and you hold it down, and all that, right? So when that's happening, you know, you're hearing the rounds hit the thing. You hear the crack and thump. But like I say, the two times, one I was shot, another my mate was shot at, and he described exactly the same. All he heard was literally a zinging sound, and then as it went through a house window, right? So I don't know if those weapons they were using were suppressed or what, but it's just, I think going by, I know what you're saying about the crack and thump and all that, Paul, and that is true, but I'm not sure, and I haven't. Do you know what? I haven't really looked at that Charlie Kirk thing since, because I saw it about 3 or 4 times. I saw, you know, all the blood coming out, and I was like, I don't really want to see that again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I mean, look, I want to be clear.
If it was high velocity, well then no, because when there's an entry wound, the entry wound is always just a pinprick. And then the exit wound's a big, massive gaping hole in the back, so you couldn't see what was in his back.
Do we know what size caliber the weapon was? Have they disclosed?
Yeah,
I think it was like what we call 5.56, but it's a different in America. I think it's
30-06.
Yeah, it's 5.56.
A big round.
Yeah.
Okay, so 5.56 is NATO ammunition. So
yeah,
I don't think it would be 5.56.
It'd be something similar. It'd be similar because it was an AR-15, was it, Paul?
No. It was a Mauser 30-06, which I think is almost equivalent to a 308.
Oh, so it's like
if it was a bolt action, then that would probably be a 7.62, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
that would be. Yeah, so that would be like a 7.62. But a lot of it, depends on the actual rounds now. I mean, when I saw that, funny enough, I was at the army.
That is a
So
very good point. Yeah.
Yeah, so when I was actually I was actually at the Army Reserve when this happened. I was actually at the Army Reserve Centre, and then I kind of heard about it, and I was shown the footage. So look, I mean, it's all to do with the angle of where the shooter actually was on the rooftop. We don't know if he was in front of Charlie, whether he was to the left, or whether he was to the right of Charlie. So what I would say is, if he's kind of in front of Charlie or slightly over to Charlie's right-hand side, then that would be his natural reaction where he fell, to the floor. Yet again, I don't think that there's been like a coroner's report. There hasn't been a ballistics report. So I think this is like high speculation in terms of what has happened. A lot of the things now that I actually look at, when I'm looking at like Instagram or whatever it might be, a lot of it I don't pay any attention to anyway, because of so much AI is involved in things now. So I think what we've got to do is just actually wait for the ballistic reports. It would be the angle. But what I'm saying is, in terms of the ammunition that was specifically used, I remember the old SLRs, Rich. They kind of like, it was the back of the lead bullet. I mean, if you got hit by a 7.62, it would practically take the whole back out, because that's how the actual round was designed. Whereas the 5.56 millimeter, which is NATO ammunition, the 5.56 millimeter, it puts a small hole, in you. And this is one of the reasons why the police and, they tend to favour those weapons now, because there's a low risk of that round penetrating through you.
They're more designed to injure than to kill.
It is. I mean, it's really. I mean, I had a mate that was was shot by a 9mm, and it hit him up here somewhere, just near the collarbone. It bounced right the way down through his body, came out his back, and he was dead before he hit the ground. Right. And then I had another mate who shot a terrorist that was hijacking a wagon in South Armagh way back in the day, and he said he hit him with 6 armor-piercing rounds. And the guy didn't have body on, and the guy got in the vehicle and drove the vehicle back across the border. Now, I don't know whether he died or not. They never found out. So there's a lot of weird, with shootings of firearms, like, I mean, as soon as I saw that footage, like, because everyone's going, oh, he's in hospital and they're going to save him. And I said, he was dead before he hit the ground. You can see he just went floppy. He was gone. You know what I mean?
The point that Noel come out about the load in the actual round itself is a very good one. I'm going to predict, or I believe from what I saw and what I heard, that despite the size of the round, I think it was a very low load in that round from what I saw. Yeah. But I want to ask you two guys this last on this topic, because it's not particularly pleasant, but it's very interesting. I'll give you my answer before you two give me yours. Was that a difficult shot to take? Now, I'm going to say, we'll do it one at a time. I'll tell you my opinion. Richard, you tell me yours. Noel, you'll tell me yours. Shoaib, the only reason I'm not asking you, my friend, is because
no idea.
I know
if you know about this sort of stuff, Shoaib, we're in trouble.
No, the thing is, if I know about this thing, the Home Office be turning up outside my house. Where did I get the training?
I just think of this. We've had this conversation about firearms and people getting shot, and I've got to go to England again in a couple of weeks. I'm thinking, thanks, Paul.
So I'm going to say, with the firearms experience that I've had and the equipment that I've used in the past, I'm going to say that 200 yards with that scope and with that rifle is not a particularly difficult shot.
I would agree. If you've got a scope and it's zeroed in properly and you're at 200 yards, you should be back in the day, we were hitting stuff with iron sights at 300 yards. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I mean, at 200 yards, it shouldn't be a problem with a good scope. But
I would imagine most of those hunting rifles, are zeroed at 100 yards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if you're zeroed at 100 yards and you're aiming out to 200 yards,
yeah,
you're only looking at about an inch difference.
Exactly. And I mean, it depends. It didn't look like it was a very windy day either, you know. So, you know, there's all those sort of things but at 200 yards, the wind's not going to make a massive amount of difference. It's if you're taking a really long shot, you know, I mean, if you, I mean, the snipers, when I was in the middle, the snipers were sort of taking shots at 600 yards and 1,000 yards. Do you know what I mean? You know, but no, do you know what? I think more to the point than about the actual ballistics and what happened with the shot. I think, and I'm not conspiratorial. Well, I am actually when I think it's sensible. But this is what I think. I think he was going to be president of the United States.
Yeah,
there's no doubt. There's no doubt he was a future president, right? And he would have been a brilliant president. And I think there are certain vested interests on the left that don't want him coming. Now, some I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it out. I'm sorry. Some idiot put in the comments it was the Jews, right? That is just ridiculous and stupid, right? Charlie Kirk was a massive supporter of Israel, right? He wasn't particularly into the ADL type left-wing capo type Jews because he knew that they were traitors to their own people, right? But in terms of Israel, Charlie Kirk was a Christian Zionist. He was a massive supporter of Israel. So I'm sorry, you're not having that.
We've seen that one raise its head this week. I mean, again, it's you know.
Oh, listen, they were responsible. They've been responsible for everything since since the crucifixion. I mean, you know, it's.
No, what's your opinion at 200 yards? Do you think that's a difficult shot?
Do you know what? I just had a look now because in terms of yards, I've always worked in meters, so I just had a look now. 182 meters is not a long distance at all. With a weapon system that maybe he's practiced on or whatever. I don't know how long he was up there for, but obviously, when you're lying down on the floor, the pictures of what I've seen of him, he's in the prone position. So that's where you're lying down. The weapon system, the butt of it is well into your shoulder. It kind of aligns where your foot is. And as long as you get your breathing right and you actually do something called pressure on the trigger. So there's certain pressures when you're pulling the trigger. There's certain pressures, and there's normally two pressures that you have with a trigger, and you release the shot. So as opposed to actually pulling the trigger like you see in the films, if you were pulling the trigger and probably at that range, if you pull it and just the slightest movement of the barrel would pull the shot off. So you're actually trained to take up the pressures and actually release the shot. So was it a difficult shot? No. With somebody who's just done, a little bit of training in terms of, you could probably research, I would say on YouTube now, like marksmanship principles. All you would need to do really is get your breathing right and stuff like that, just to draw the comparisons. When we do I don't know what it's called now, when we do our annual weapons test, the ACMT it used to be called, which was the annual.
It used to be called the annual personal weapons test.
Yeah, they called it the annual combat marksmanship test.
Yeah.
So a lot of what we do, which is like the standing, the prone, and the kneeling position, you go to the 300 meter point, and you're still getting your rounds on the target. And as Richard said, we use the electronic system now, and it will always be that targets will fall when they're hit. So at 300 meters, if you're moving around with a weapon, you're standing, when you're looking down the barrel, the barrel's moving everywhere, and it's just a question of guiding it on. But somebody that's lying there for quite some considerable time, who's watching every movement of Charlie Kirk, it's a very easy shot to make.
Yeah.
Because
I believe so. I mean, I've watched videos this week where Navy SEALs have been saying it's a tough shot, and I honestly don't get it. I mean, I've shot out to 200 yards, and with the right equipment, I mean, in all honesty, when you're looking through the right scope, it's like 6 feet away from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other thing is that lad, allegedly, that gun was given to him by his grandfather, which kind of tells me that they probably would have taken him out hunting when he was a kid with that gun, etc.
Yeah.
My guess is that lad knew how to use that gun. That gun had been zeroed in at 100 yards, and he was probably aiming centre mass, or for the head, and it ended up somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what you always do. You don't aim for the head. You aim for the center of the body mass.
Yeah.
That's what you aim for. You know, and if you get a headshot, well done. But I mean, I mean, I was thinking even about what we were saying there about the way that the training's different now. When I did it, when you were doing the butt party, which is where the targets were. Do you know what that actually did? No, that got you used to being under fire because you were behind a bank that was getting fired at all day, and hearing the rounds going over your head and seeing them land in the bank behind you. Because obviously the way it was, there was a big mound. You were in under the mound, like the trench in the First World War. It's kind of like that sort of thing. If you popped your head above, you're going to get your head blown off. Do you know what I mean? But and it was like, I just thought about that there. That was interesting what they used to do then. They did that deliberately so that you got used to basically rounds landing.
The crack and the thump, because you would never hear the weapon being discharged, would you? You would only ever get the crack and the thump.
Exactly.
So you'd be sort of standing there behind the sandbank, and the next thing you would get the crack and the thump. And when that shot was fired at Charlie, all I heard really, you can hear the crack and the thump, because you can hear the crack and then you can hear the impact. So you know, for me, I'm not buying into any of the conspiracies, but you know what? We have to work with facts, and I think we have to wait for the coroner's report, the ballistics report, etc., etc. He was clearly an amateur at what he was doing. You know, from the CCTV footage when he was getting off of the rooftop. I mean, to put your handprint down on CCTV of where he was, you know, that's a big combat indicator to me that he was an amateur at what he was doing. You know, and then his escape plan really was to fall 20 foot. He probably sprained his ankle as well. I think he limped off at some point. So for me, I just genuinely think that this was a genuine lunatic, and I think everyone's overthinking it. I could be wrong, but I just think it is what it is at the moment. But one thing I
agree. No, the only as I said, the only thing that doesn't add up for me is the velocity of that round. But if it was a low load, that could well explain it. But there are some anomalies with that caliber rifle for me, with the injuries sustained. That's just my opinion. Whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong, it's just what I saw.
The truth is, there still is a deep state in America that will still be active, even though Trump's in power. There's still going to be people who are leftists in the CIA, in the FBI, in any of these organizations, and the shadow state. So I think that's and the UK is exactly the same. And man, you know, I'm not coming to Northern Ireland, but like some of the stuff that happened in Northern Ireland, like so murky that you wouldn't even believe, like, you know what I mean? So I think there's
one thing we can say, Rich, and that's for sure, the American government have taken it very, very, very seriously. I mean, they are all very emotionally invested. I mean, you know, you look at.
I don't think it was Trump's lot or anything like that. No, but I think there's still obviously there'll be remnants of the left-wing deep state still in place in America. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying
if there's any conspiracy, absolutely, I agree with you. It would be the remains of what was there before. I completely agree with you. But when you look at, you know, JD Vance, you know, the way that, you know,
he's brilliant. I think he's brilliant. I love that.
Trump's people have been absolutely superb. They've been absolutely.
JD Vance is amazing. Amazing.
I mean, look how personally they've all taken it. You know, I don't think any of them slept for something like 36 hours. They were literally, all of them were just working around the clock to find, you know, the killer. I don't know.
Sorry, Noel. Sorry, cutting across you there, mate. I played one of JD Vance's speeches earlier in a video earlier on. If you haven't seen it, watch it because it's epic. But he also did another one about how the left and their innuendo and their constant sniping at anyone that doesn't agree with them was ultimately responsible for Charlie's death. Guys, we've got up to an hour and a half. Let me just get through the last of the supers. UK Patriot. A teacher spoke to students about Palestine action. Wouldn't surprise me. UK Patriot again. Allegedly, man behind Charlie was on his mobile. There was one or two things going on behind him, but I think probably coincidence. Nick Core, Thank you, Nick. Just announced on Real American Voice, Erica Kirk will take over as CEO of Turning Point. Wow.
Good.
Bob, thank you, Bob. A small donation for Richard, Paul, Danny, and others for your love and humanity of your faithfulness and love towards our country. Thank you, guys. Cheers, Bob. You're a star. Again, Bob, thank you. Charlie, we'll see you soon, brother. Subi Spaceship, I can't believe I have to ask this, but as an American, if I fly to the UK to go and see a football game, could I be arrested for all the smack I talk about commies online? Starmer is such a little punk. Very unlikely.
They're after
Very
us.
unlikely.
They want us.
Yeah, they want Brits, not Americans.
Yeah.
Sufferfish, bodyguards said they got a pulse back. Hospitalised. Wow.
Do you know another thing about the weekend? Gavin McGuinness. I don't know if anyone knows Gavin McGuinness, right? He's banned everywhere, right? He was on Liam Tuft's podcast last night. I think it was they aired it. He is one of the funniest people you'll ever be in company with, and he was there, and I had the pleasure of making an acquaintance with Gavin again, and just an absolute, just. A real character. Let's just put it that way, a real character. But it was, and he's banned from everywhere, and he's banned just because he's like,
Yeah. Ali Smith, very perceptive. Paul Thorpe, have you been on the Shandies? I did have one earlier on with me, Ruby Murray. Bob, again, thank you, Bob. False flags. Remember who the real enemy are. Bankers, governments, corporate, technocratic, fascism. It's simple. You will own nothing and be happy.
Yeah, I know.
Lee Butcher, Fubar. Right, that's it from the supers, guys. Thank you very much. We won't be able to read any more of them out tonight. So that, thank you for those. Kevin Maguire is vile over Charlie Kirk. Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgusting.
Total and utter wrong.
Right, guys, that is it. Thousands of messages again this evening. Thank you so much, Shoaib. We really appreciate you joining us tonight, brother. It's always an absolute pleasure. Sorry about the last 15 minutes. You've been kind of sat on the sidelines.
No, good information. That's good information.
That's because you've been a good boy, a good clean lad, and you've never been playing around with firearms. That's what it is.
I just want to add. Anytime I was playing about with firearms, they were all completely legal. It was either in the military or on a legitimate legal shooting range. I just want to get that out there.
I can give you another little tip, actually, Shoaib. This is a good one that you should remember. I don't know what your surname is, but if it is, if it's sounding from where you come from, you never have to be worried about missing your flight ever.
Really?
Because you just sit there having a coffee, and when your wife says to you, Shoaib, our plane's going to leave, you say, listen, our surname is, and that plane is not taking off with our luggage on board without us.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, I've never even I fell asleep a few times in the airport, but they never left me. They were looking for me everywhere, but they never ever left me. I don't know why.
And that works for Richard as well, because if Richard Inman's bag's on a flight, that flight is not taking off without him.
You better believe it. You better believe it. And remember, if you're cleaning a crime scene, it's 1 part bleach to 2 parts water. Okay.
Okay.
All DNA gone.
Oh dear! You got to laugh, haven't you? Otherwise, you go mad, wouldn't you?
Well, it's just to give those counter-terror boys a bit more to go on. Do you know what I mean?
They're probably watching it right now.
I'm actually speaking to my solicitors next week about returning home. Yeah.
Oh yes, that'd be good to see you, Paul. If you're coming back, that'd be really, really good to see you.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't want to spend hours at the bloody airport,
No, I think you should, Paul, because I think we need to push this. I'm going to seek advice off someone I know as well, and see if we can get something sorted, because it's just not acceptable. The reality is, if if that was happening to people from a certain other demographic, can you imagine?
The uproar.
Can you imagine the pandemonium there would be? You know, and yeah, so yeah.
Paul, do you want me to come to the airport to pick you up? Because if I'm there, I can tell them that this white guy has adopted this immigrant. You can't really keep him back.
They'll
Where I'm
probably,
gonna go.
they'll probably grab you as well, mate.
Probably will.
Kill two birds with one stone. Maybe what we need is a plane full of far right nutcases on the plane coming back from Spain.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure we already had that when Tommy came back from Spain last time.
Oh dear. Right, guys, that is it. We've been on for an hour and a half. We better go before we bore everyone to tears. But ladies and gents, before you go, please do me one favour. If you haven't done so already, please hit that like button. And if subscribe if you haven't already done so. I'm sorry to keep asking you that, guys, but so many of you watch the channel and don't actually bother to give us a thumbs up even. And most importantly, have a great weekend. Thank you very much to Richard. As always, you've been a superstar. Thank you very much to Noel.
Good to be back. Good to see you.
The loyal friend that is Noel. Keep fighting the fight, Noel. Good work down there where you are. And thank you, Shoaib, for joining us too, brother. Keep up the good work. Keep your chin up and never stop fighting.
Before you go, Paul, I want
Yes,
I want all the people that are watching to subscribe to my channel as well. Counter Media on YouTube. Get across there. You know, we need to build that up. Listen, let's get it right. The social media companies are not particularly my friends, so any help I can get from you guys by subscribing, it doesn't cost anything, and it just helps me massively. So get across to my channel and subscribe as well. Counter Media on YouTube.
Should we give Danny in Spain a shout out?
Go for Danny.
Nah. Subscribe to Danny in Spain as well. Bless him. He's trying to get up to 10,000 subs. Let's see if we can do that for him. Right, guys, have a great weekend. Stay safe. Have a wonderful time over the weekend.
Just one more thing, Paul.
Yeah,
just one more thing. Tomorrow, Ballymena, Linus's, if you know how that is in Ballymena, there's a march and a protest about all that's been going on in the town. I'll be speaking at it if I'm still breathing after this horrendous lurgy I've got. And yeah, so get to Ballymena tomorrow and give that. The people of Ballymena deserve our support because they have fought a very lonely battle. They've been demonized, they've been vilified, and they're good people. So get behind the people of Ballymena if you're in Northern Ireland tomorrow.
Richard's got the man flu. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
See you later. Have a good one.